Arpin, let's shake things up. Let's move things around. Let's change the lines. Let's let's do new stuff. At some point, you need new energy. You need to get out of your funk. That's what the
Yeah.
Canadiens are doing.
Yeah. So yeah, we're gonna talk about it like we usually do. We're not changing anything up. Yeah,
Hello. Yeah.
a
So
lot
we're
of
November 25th. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Notebook. Yeah, it's a newsworthy day. New news, full of little tidbits. Um, well, let's start chronologically. If we start with the morning, with Joshua Waugh being called up.
mhm.
It's interesting because I asked a couple of questions to Marty after practice, and I asked him if he thought that there was enough internal competition among his group of forwards. He hesitated, and he was not too sure that there was, but he said now there's going to be. That's for sure. And it's interesting because they bring up Joshua Roy, who's really willing and ready to turn the page on his bad training camp, but suddenly it puts pressure on other guys. That's good.
Well, yeah. I mean, if you're Slafkovsky and you see Joshua Roy up there, or kind of further up the lineup than you are, then yeah, it serves as a wake-up call. So the Joshua Roy call up, Lucas Condotta send down, which I guess was inevitable at some point, but he did good for himself in his time in Montreal here. Kind of identified what he can provide to the Canadiens in a short stint. I thought he played pretty well. Showed that if they need someone to play a fourth line center role, perhaps when Christian Dvorak gets traded, if they're able to, that he's just sitting there ready to do so.
Yeah.
So good for him. Joshua Roy, I think this was an appropriate time to get him up. He's 6 weeks or so, 7 weeks into the season, having produced a lot of points, not necessarily in the most consistent fashion. I think if you kind of look at his game log, he's got some big point games and some donuts, and so, but I think that's been steadily improving over the last little bit. But anyhow, he's earned a call up. He's produced enough, and just added. Um, let's see if he's added any layers to his game. Aside from the production. That'll be curious, but I'm glad that he's being brought into a situation where seemingly, based on the lines of practice today, um, he'll be in a, a scoring role. So I guess for
Right.
anyone who didn't see the lines of practice today, we should probably go over them. So you had Caulfield, Suzuki, and Newhook, which is how the game finished against Vegas.
Yeah,
Uh,
actually, it was Newhook Suzuki. Yeah, Caulfield Suzuki Newhook. Yeah, you're right.
yes, left to right.
That's it.
Yes.
And with Liney rotating with both wingers. So, but he's only there to get comfortable, getting some more reps.
Mhm.
He's unlikely. He's
A
not ruled
contact
out to
sweater.
play. Yeah,
Yeah, but
he,
wearing a
he
contact sweater, so that's something.
yeah, and he has not been completely ruled out by Martin Saint Louis for any of the games this week, but it sounds unlikely.
Right. So there's that. Then you have Heineman, Evans, and Roy,
Yeah,
which is an interesting promotion for Emil Heineman, earned in my opinion. And I think if you want someone who's playing the right way and sort of bringing a consistent level of physicality and hard to play againstness that Martin Saint Louis wants the whole team to be, I think Emil Heineman is a guy who's pretty hard to play against. So interesting decision to promote him. Then not touching the Anderson, Dvorak, Gallagher line, and then of course Slafkovsky, Dach, Armia on what appears to be the fourth line. Now,
yeah. So the fourth line, I mean, I know there are some pundits out there that are saying, "Well, it's not the fourth line. Come on, let's get real." There's a reason what the when the coach sends his line rushes, the
Hmm.
order means something. It has always
Yes.
meant something. The coaches, the players know that, and they pay attention to the order that they're being sent out there.
Well, it's
So
written on a
Slavko,
board in that order. And even
that's it.
Martin said they might be fourth on the board,
Yeah,
which means they are fourth on the board, but we'll see what happens when the game starts tomorrow.
it's
So
up to them. It's up to
it's
them
up
to
to
make
them.
sure, because just simply in terms of talent, obviously they're not the fourth line, but in terms of what they bring right now to the table, they are destined, if the trend continues, to see fourth line minutes.
Yeah.
So that's why it's up to them to raise their level, raise their bar. Um Martin Saint Louis has been very clear to the effect that he wants to see more, not only just in terms of um, hard work, but also in terms of awareness to the game, understanding what the game needs you to do. He was talking about that more specifically about Slafkovsky, but I think it applies also to Doc. Um, but there, for the time being, yeah, it is the fourth line.
Yeah. And it's deserved. Listen, Slavkovsky on Saturday night made the exact same mistake he made 1 week earlier against Columbus. The exact same thing. Um, Instead of at his own blue line, he did it at the other blue line, which is, I guess, a little less bad, but still, um, simple play right in front of him, chip it down the wall. Suzuki was coming, had a decent amount of speed going, would have had a decent chance of recovering that puck, um, but went for the second layer of play, which I would give him a bit of a pass because Marty was talking about how he wants to incorporate that into all the responsibility he's been trying to instill in his group. He's spoke about that extensively Saturday morning before the game, how there are plays out there. We'd like to enter with possession more often, things like that. And what Slavkovsky was trying to do was enter the zone with possession. He wasn't going to be able to carry the puck over the blue line, or he had just carried the puck over the blue line. No, he was about to. Anyhow, he was trying to create a situation where the puck was in space using the width of the ice, the way Martin was talking about this week. All the things he was talking about were involved in that pass. The only thing that Martin was talking about that was not involved in that pass was knowing when and where to take risk. And everything that he was talking about in terms of creating more offense was under the umbrella of doing so without unnecessary risk. And that was an unnecessary risk. So while it seems like it doesn't seem like it literally was the same mistake. I do think the, there were talking points before that game where his team was told, now that we've got the responsibility kind of down, we've been pretty good about it for 2 or 3 games now. Let's try to incorporate more of this stuff. And as soon as he said that, the responsibility went out the window, and it
Yeah,
wasn't just Dach and Slafkovsky, there were others. Um, so this shakeup at practice to me, does it address that? Because those are like individual decisions that people made over the course of the game that did not, that appeared to be a step back in their process. And, um, I guess it's a punishment for Slafkovsky to some extent. Doc is on a fourth line, but he's in the middle, which I had been talking about for a while. So I kind of welcome that news in terms of get him back in the middle. Let's see what he can do. It's even if it's in the middle of on the fourth line, so be it. Go in the middle, play, earn your minutes, earn your way up the lineup. That's fine too. But there seemed to be a desire for that game against Vegas to be a step forward, and it was a pretty big step back. They kind of went back to square one, um, where they were. Maybe not quite as bad because they didn't get bag skated today, but That game in Washington is what I was reminded of when they played Vegas. So I don't know if they're all the way back there, but they definitely needed a little bit of a reset. And so I guess switching up the lines the way Marty did kind of accentuates that reset that's required.